I hope that you're doing well. I have a great question here from Nathan Wolf out of Chris Cherry's office in Orange County, California. And it's a popular question, and I think we talk about this a good amount on these videos. So I think this is important. I'll get into why I believe it's important here shortly. Here's the question. What tips do you have for building confidence in people on my team? Popular question. Specifically, new reps that are working towards leadership promotions. I feel like I take my hands off the jams a little bit early. Jams are junior account managers. And I let them try to do so much on their own. And then when they don't get the result, I usually go back and try to fix their systems. I'm starting to think that just breaks their confidence down if all I talk to them about is what they're doing wrong and what we need to fix. How would you build a lot of confidence in a newer person? And so after Jared Bednar won the Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche, I'm friends with Jared. We grew up together in Humboldt, Saskatchewan. I went through a deep dive. I feel lucky that I happen to know somebody who is working at the highest level of coaching. I mean, you're coaching the best players on the planet in their sport, in hockey. And so I thought it was fascinating that Jared spends a lot of times in fostering a belief system in his players, building their confidence in themselves and the vision for the organization. Shouldn't that be a tell for us that the ability to build confidence in our people is super important? I mean, obviously. I mean, that is really one of the roles of a coach is how do you get people to really believe in themselves? How do you get them to believe in the vision? That is part of our job, and that's what we're going to dive into here today. My first point is really a question. What comes first, confidence or competence? What comes first? When I'm confident in something, then yeah, I'll perform. Or think about it. When I perform, yeah, I get more confident. So which one does come first? And this is just my opinion. I'm not saying there's right or wrong here, just my go-to. I almost feel like if I'm trying to build confidence in somebody without any demonstrated competence, if there is no track record, I almost feel like that's manipulating somebody. I learned a long time ago in coaching Little League Baseball, hey, Jamie, don't try to kid a kid. You're not going to fool the kid. They know when they suck, right? So I believe that, listen, if I really want to get the confidence cooking, I'm going to double down. I'm going to put heavy emphasis on developing their competence, getting the little wins, and those wins will translate and turn into confidence. My second point is be a good finder. Don't be a bad finder. It takes no talent to look for problems, to look for something bad. Think about it. When you see a picture of yourself, you'll easily point out, oh, I got a little pimple here, or there's something wrong. I think just by nature, we're sort of programmed to find the bad. But we have to kind of rewire ourselves. If the goal is to build confidence in people, we have to train ourselves to look for things that are going well. I want to be a good finder. And my third point, similar to my second, catch them doing something right. Focus on them doing something right. Caught, not taught. I don't think I've talked about this book before in these videos, but I'm going to reference this book, Whale Done by Ken Blanchard. Anybody who's coaching and developing people should read this book. The good news is it's going to take you 2 hours or less to read the book. It's 120 pages long, and it's just a quick story on, well, how are these big animals, these killer whales in SeaWorld, right, in San Diego and in other parts of the world, how are they trained? How do you train these massive beasts, if you will, to obey these small, inferior humans? And so they do a deep dive in really how you train these whales. And so initially you put rope in the water, right? And every time the whale swims over the rope, you reward it with fish. And every time it swims under the rope, you ignore the whale. You don't spank the whale. You don't reprimand the whale. I mean, think if you did do that, what this animal could do to you if you were reprimanding it or beating it or something like that. It's only rewarded with positive behavior. There is no reprimand. You just sort of ignore the fish when it swims under the rope. And eventually you bring the rope higher and higher and higher to the point that you bring it out of the water. And these whales will launch themselves out of the water, put on this amazing show. And at the end of the book, the question is really posed, if this is how you train these big beasts, Maybe we're doing it wrong with humans. Why are we so quick to point out the wrong in people? Why are we so quick to, reprimand? Maybe we need to focus on rewarding positive behavior and put all of our attention into catching people doing things right. I can't help but think about how I was trained in the field, and my fearless leader, Rob Hoburn. I remember going in the field with him. I'm butchering a pitch. He's with me, he's watching, and I'm like, oh man, I am screwing this thing up big time. I'm expecting when the pitch is done to hear, Jamie, did you study the pitch? Have you done any homework? Like, I knew it was bad, right? And so as we're walking away from the door, the first thing I hear from Rob was a compliment, like, Jamie, that was great rapport building. Like, I did not expect to hear that. I expected to hear that the presentation was awful. But instead, he was building my confidence. He picked one part of the pitch that he liked. He didn't dissect the entire pitch. He just picked the one part that he liked, and that's all he said. And it gave me confidence going into the next presentation, talking to the next customer. He did not squash me, he just built me up. So really the key in developing confidence is build, build, build. That is really our job as coaches. Build confidence in people, help them believe in themselves. The world and the culture around them is telling them to not believe in themselves. There's enough bad things happening, and there's enough, insecurities that we have that we're again looking for the bad, but catch people doing things right and build confidence.